First video response. Now Matt, your video today on nature I quite enjoyed, but I do have things that I disagree with. And if I may, I would like to tell you why I disagree with things. Okay. First point was your argument about the downfall of man. Now, you use Emerson to define nature as anything that's outside of your consciousness. And then you go on to say this.
There's no reason for a discovery of anything at all. There's no reason for appreciation when you have the latest video on freaking YouTube to watch.
It seems that under this definition that you put forth, YouTube and stuff like that would fall under the definition of nature. Like it's outside of our consciousness, right? So by definition it has to be part of nature. So watching the newest YouTube video, isn't that not a form of discovery? Isn't that not a form of appreciation? I definitely think it is. Just because like nature outside is like organic or not man-made doesn't make it necessarily better than YouTube. I think we discover much more than you give us credit for. Now I want to talk about the downfall of language. The downfall of man, I was like, man, that's an interesting point. But this one, I totally disagree with what you're saying. I'm going to use a Rubik's Cube as an example. So this side of the Rubik's Cube is red, right? And I look at it, and you look at it, and we both agree that it is red. But what is red? There's nothing about the quality of this thing that we call color that mandates that we ascribe the symbol red to it. There's no divine mandate that says this quality has to be described as red. You know what I mean? In that sense, language is completely arbitrary. Now, when I went to college, initially I went to the University of Rochester and I majored in psycholinguistics, which is basically how the mind perceives language. And that was something that was really hammered into us, is language is arbitrary. It is not something it's something that we give meaning to ourselves. And because we give meaning to it, we can change that meaning. Language has been corrupted since it was first invented, way back in the day. And even that term, corruption, implies that it's somehow worse now than it was before. That's not the case at all. Language, because it is arbitrary, there's no way to make it worse. It only changes. So when you said this...
Further from the downfall of man comes the downfall of language, which we can definitely see in today's society. There's taking old words that stand for something and completely changing the meaning of them to stand for something else, so the true meaning is lost forever.
The true meaning can never be lost. What gives language power isn't language itself, it's us. You say that we as people don't create ideas or ideologies ourselves, we simply borrow from others. I also disagree with that. We're going to go back to the cube for this one again. So we're looking at this, we both agree that this quality is red, whatever arbitrary thing red is. But then, how do I know that what you're seeing is the same? How do I know that the red you're seeing is the same red that I'm seeing? Do you know what I mean? Just because we ascribe the same symbol to it doesn't mean that we perceive the quality exactly the same way. So what I think of as red could be what you think of as actually yellow. We just ascribe the same symbol to it. So this can be applied to anything. So to take the word love. What does love mean? Love is simply what we... Love has power. The word love has power because we give it power. And we don't give it the same things. So the word love, it means different things to everyone. So when I'm borrowing someone else's knowledge, I'm not borrowing their sentiment. I'm only borrowing their words. Those words now hold my sentiment, which can be totally different from the sentiment of the person that originally said those words. Even when you talk about like trying to describe things that ought not to be described, I on some level I agree with you, but on another level I don't. You say this.
Because you have to take your words that you have to describe that sunset, and you're boxing it in. Instead of just that feeling you have when you see it, and you just know that that's the most amazing thing you've ever seen, you have to take words made from other people and other meanings and try to put them together to make your point shown that this is a beautiful sunset.
So when someone sees a sunset and they say, "Oh my goodness, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen," it's the most golden, purple, a blue thing I've ever seen. You're saying that people are borrowing other people's words, so therefore they're borrowing other people's meanings. That's not true. They're borrowing their words, but the meaning is their own. And even when someone else hears what the other person has to say, taking in their words, those words take on that person's own meaning. The meaning changes from person to person. And it might not even change in big ways. It might change just by inches. But that inch is what makes us individuals. That inch is what makes us unique people. And that inch can never be taken away from us. That inch is what makes sunsets and trees and grass and, yes, YouTube uniquely beautiful. Because they're ours. And even though words try to capture that inch, they can never do it. They can never put that inch into a box because that inch will always be ours. I don't know if that made any sense. I have to edit it to make sure it makes sense. I don't like confrontation, so please don't be angry that I'm posting this. I'm sorry. Bye.